Hey guys, it's Amber. I'm back with my second video. Thank you all for the love and support for the first video. Like I said, this channel is all about just helping others and spreading the love and the light and just letting us all know that we are all in this together and we're all going through the same stuff. So if you could relate, then awesome. It sucked, but guess what? Here I am, better than ever. And so just again, thank you so much for those of you that reached out and shared my video and sent it to your family members or whoever, because it's a humbling thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is budgeting. So like I said, this channel is not really specific towards any information. It's not health and fitness. It's not OT stuff. It's not just, blankety blank blank blank. I just want to make it all about anything. So that's why my channel is now called Amber Actually, because it's just about kind of anything that I want to talk about, anything that you guys have asked me to talk about and and research and try and discuss with all of you. So the next thing I want to talk about is budgeting. A lot of you are just like me and have no prior information about how to do a budget. You didn't grow up around that. Your parents didn't teach you that. You were not given the tools in school because they don't teach you what you really need to know in school anymore. So that being said, I have started a Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover, all in thanks to Tez, my fiance. He's the one that got me on board. I was very hesitant and resistant at first. I was like, I just got a real job. You're going to tell me that I have to be on a budget? No, I deserve to do this and this and this. Yeah, no, that's stupid because I'm in debt, just like a lot of you. If you're watching this, I'm assuming you're in debt. So I'm not going to tell you how much debt I'm in, not because I'm ashamed of it, but because it's a surprise and I want to save that for my next video. So this video today is going to be about how to make a budget, how to stick to it, the envelope system that you may have seen me post about on my social media, and that's it. Yeah, so just how to make a budget, how to stick to it, and how to do the envelope system. My next video will be about doing the debt snowball and paying off a specific amount of debt and how that works and how you're going to do that, okay? So there's really just a couple of things that you have to do. Now, the couple of things you have to do are pretty intense and they take a lot of time and energy, but when you do it, it gets easier every single time and you're going to be so thankful that you did this in 5 or 6 years or however long it takes you to pay off your debt. Okay, so the first thing you have to do to pay off debt is get on a budget. So how do you start? Well, you need to find out where your money is going. Where are you spending your money? Okay. So the way that I did this was I printed out my paycheck, or not my pay stubs, my bank statements from January, February, and March, and I took an average. I wrote down, excuse me, I wrote down every single little thing that I paid for, every single transaction, whether it was Starbucks, whether it was at Marshall's, whether it was to get margaritas, whether it was to get a piece of candy at the store and it cost 75 cents. I wrote down every single penny of what I was spending, and it made me want to throw up. The amount of money I was spending on things was just ridiculous because I was just swiping my debit card, swipe, swipe. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't have a budget. I was just living life, like most of you are. So that's your first thing to do. Find out where your money is going. Once you do that, you can really figure out how you're going to tackle this, okay? So if you want to write it down in categories, so like, for example, like say food and drinks or entertainment or your kids' stuff or whatever you're into, write it down and figure out where all your money is going, okay? Then the next thing you need to do is you need to find out your income. How much money do you make every month? Now this is gonna vary, okay? If you're on a salary job, perfect. You know how much money you make every month and it's not gonna change. But if you're like me and you make hourly and your hours are not consistent, or you work as a server, or you are a babysitter or a dog walker or a stripper, I don't care what you do. If your money is not consistent every single time, it's hard to do a budget, but it's doable. So the way that I did mine, I took my lowest paycheck and my highest paycheck, and I just kind of went on the lower end of that, okay? So for example, I'm using all my numbers. So I'm being very open with you guys. I'm letting you know how much money I make. I'm letting you know how much money I'm spending on everything else. This is, again, me being very raw and real so that I can help you guys get out of debt like I am for myself, because I don't know why money is so taboo. We don't want to talk about it with each other. We want to compare ourselves to the Joneses. We want to do this. We don't want to say, how much do you make and how much do you make? And it's all awkward. I think that's ridiculous. How are we supposed to help each other if we're not being transparent? Now, no, if you're poor and you don't want everyone to know that and it's embarrassing for you, that's one thing. But and even being in debt may be embarrassing for you, and it's embarrassing for some people. You know, different people want to give out certain amounts of information. Tez, for example, is a little bit more closed off. He doesn't really like to discuss that kind of thing. But me, I want to be very real with you guys, and I want it to be relatable. So if it's going to be relatable, it needs to be real numbers, I think. So my lowest paycheck so far, I've only been working for a couple of months, it was $12.65. That means I worked, I think, 67 hours that week, okay? A really low amount for me as an OT, okay? Not saying that that's a lot of money, not saying that it's not a lot of money. Then my highest paycheck has been like $2,500, which is closer to like 78 hours. So I have yet to have an 80-hour week, okay? It's inconsistent. So what I did was I went over here. So my budget every single month that I assume I'm gonna make every paycheck is $2,000, okay? Chances are I'm gonna make more than that. Chances are I'm gonna make $2,100, $2,400, you know, whatever. But to be on the safe side, I went with $2,000, because if I go lower than any extra money that I have, well, that's just extra money that I have. But otherwise, I'm setting myself up for failure. So $2,000 a month is what I have as my income. $2,000 per paycheck, sorry. So $4,000 a month is my income. Now, also, Tez and I are engaged, but we have our finances separate for right now. We do have a joint account because we split bills in half, but our debt and our income and everything like that is very separate. We will combine all of that when we get married, but if you're a single person, even if you're living with your spouse, and you're not married, then, so living with your significant other, not spouse, then my advice is to be separate. You need to have your finances separate, okay? So the way that Tez and I do this every single month is we create our little monthly calendar, okay? So it's big, it hangs on our wall, it helps us remember what bills are due when and and how much we're spending and all that kind of stuff, okay? So if you notice, there's three main colors. There's pink, yellow, and blue. So pink is my bills, blue is Tez's bills, and yellow is the ones that we split, okay? So I'll get a little bit closer for you. So for example, we split our AT&T, we split our electricity, we split our rent, we split groceries, we split our Geico, car insurance, stuff like that, okay? So then we also have our pay periods on here. So my pay periods are here, here, and here, and his are here and here every 2 weeks. He gets paid on Friday, I get paid on Wednesday, okay? So that will help you get your bills in order, okay? So you see, it goes from the first all the way to the last day of the month, and every single penny is accounted for, every single dollar. Now, that being said, I think that's a very good way to just visualize it and go, okay, how much are our bills? Here they are. Got it. Another thing that I do is I write them down like this, okay? The reason I do this is a very rough estimate of how much my income's gonna be, how much my bills are gonna be, how much our extra categories are, which we'll talk about that in just a sec, and then how much money we'll have left over per paycheck. How much money I will have left over per paycheck, okay? So I do this, but we do this as well, okay? This helps you see what is due when and which bills you'll pay with which paycheck. Does that make sense? So again, we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail in a sec, but I just want to show you how to start this, okay? Now, I sit down every single paycheck and I get my actual amount that I made for my income, and then I take out which bills I'm gonna pay with that paycheck, okay? So, the next thing you have to do, so you have your income, right? If you don't have it specifically, you need to just get a very rough estimate. Try to be as specific as you can, but it needs to be a number that you can use every single paycheck, okay? Then you need to figure out your bills. Now, I understand that your bills are gonna fluctuate. For example, our electricity, not gonna be the same every month. Our rent, our water is included in our rent. So our rent's gonna be different every single month. So every single time I get a notification that says your rent has posted, I go onto our handy dandy calendar and I write down the exact amount. So this month, our rent is $12.68 or $634 per person, okay? We split everything down the middle. Now my bills are separate, okay? My credit cards, my Spotify, my stuff is separate, and Tez's is separate as well, okay? He pays for Netflix and I pay for Hulu, or vice versa, but they're the same price, so regardless. Okay, so now you need to come up with your categories. And when I say categories, I mean your other, okay? Because you don't just have income and bills and that's it. No, you also have groceries, you have gas, you have stuff that you have to buy for your kids, you have gym memberships that you like to keep up, you have cosmetic things, get your hair dyed, get your nails done. If you're a guy and you like to go fishing, you have a fishing category. I don't know, whatever it may be that you like to do, you have to get categories set, okay? For me, this was the hardest part because I could not figure out how much money to put in my categories. My bills are easy because they just tell me this is what you owe. My income is easy. However much you made, that's how much you made. But these categories, they're up to you. And this is where your budget really, really, really matters, okay? So our categories, I was gonna say another category you can have is tithing. So if, the Bible says to give 10% of your income to the church, and then God will give that back to you in other ways. So if that's important to you, then tithing needs to be a category as well, okay? So for mine, as of right now, my categories are wedding, groceries, fun money, and nails and hair, okay? So how did I figure that out? Well, I like to get my hair dyed because I'm naturally blonde. As you can see, I need to get it dyed. And I like to get my nails done. That's one thing that I do for myself that makes me stay sane and that makes me really appreciate the money that I'm making, okay? So I give myself $100 every paycheck for nails and hair. That's just me personally. You can have that category for whatever you want. Groceries. So Tez and I have a budget of $200 per paycheck, okay? So that means $100 every Sunday. We're creatures of habit. So every single Sunday we go grocery shopping and we spend right at $100 or a little bit less each. We split that down the middle, okay? Also, we're getting married, as you may know. So we have a wedding category that we pay, each of us pays $300 per paycheck, so that's $600 a month per person, towards our wedding, whether that be buying, paying off a venue or buying more decorations or doing this or that, whatever it may be. And then the last thing you need is a fun money category, okay? Fun money category, everyone needs to have one of these. You can label it whatever you want. You can label it entertainment or whatever. But we use this as our going out. So if we want to go out, if we want to have a drink, if we want to go to the movies, if we want to go to a restaurant, treat ourselves, whatever, we use that for our fun money. So our fun money category is $150 per paycheck, okay? Now, if you think about that, $150 per paycheck, so every 2 weeks, that will give me $300 a month to spend on fun stuff, whether that be a yoga class that I want to take, or whether that be going out for drinks, or going out to the club, or going out to whatever it may be. I spend $300 a month, and that is it, okay? Now think about that. You may think that's a lot of money, or you may think that's not a lot of money at all. I spend $300 a day on a weekend. Yeah, well, I was too. And that's ridiculous. We have just as much fun now that we're on a budget than we did before. And I'll tell you one thing that we made a big change of. We don't really go out to eat anymore. We do every once in a while, we'll treat ourselves, but we'll even bring a coupon, or we'll share something, or we'll drink at home before we go to save money on drinks or whatever. But for example, if we want to go have, if I'm craving a steak and margaritas, we will just go to H-E-B and grab steak and stuff to make margaritas, come home and go to the pool and make it ourselves. And it costs $20-25. And we have margarita stuff left over for days to come. And that will take you from $100, $80, steak dinner to $25. So right there, you just saved a ton of money. So it's making changes like that you're gonna have to do. And it sucks, but guess what? It's just as fun. And we realized that we actually like it better doing our own thing than we do going out. It was just so innate. That was just what we were used to. It was our habit and our routine. But we've just changed our habits and routines, and we've saved a lot of money because of that. So again, you have to find out what categories you want, and that's not going to be perfect. Let me tell you, I think it took me 4 tries to get my categories to be perfect. because I was getting so frustrated, and every single time I would get frustrated, I would just start using my debit card. Like, forget this. Nope, my cash is gone, but I'm still gonna be spending on this. You cannot do that, you guys. You have to use cash only, okay? So that brings me to my next topic, the envelope system, okay? The envelope system, I posted this on my Instagram. This is a Dave Ramsey thing. You can see it, Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace University. That's one of his classes that he offers online that you can take if you want more information as far as like budgeting and stuff goes. I'm trying to do a very good job of summing it up into like one video, but I mean, Tez has read maybe 3 or 4 of his books. I've read one of his books. We listen to his podcast all the time. So he is the reason why we are even on this journey right now. He's intense and he's amazing. And he's helped hundreds and probably millions of people get out of debt. I don't even know. But the Total Money Makeover book is amazing. I suggest you read it. It has like stories about people throughout that are true stories about how much debt they paid off and how much time and how they did it. And it's very inspiring and very motivating and keeps you going. So that's what I recommend. But this is a Dave Ramsey envelope system. As you can see, it has envelopes in it, and then you have places where you can put your ID and your cards and everything. But you can, if you don't want to spend $18 on this, because that's not in your budget, see what I did there? Then you can just use regular envelopes, you guys. Just get an envelope, a blank envelope, and just write fun money and put money in there, okay? So I'm gonna show you. This is what I take with me. I have my debit cards, but I actually don't take those. If you go to the restaurant, you go to the club, take those out. You're only taking this in there, okay? Honestly, if you go to the club, you should, if you're a girl and you're wearing a dress and your boyfriend's holding your stuff, you need to take your ID and 20 bucks. Or your ID and $10, or however much you want to spend when you go out, okay? You need to only have cash with you. The only reason we have debit cards is because we pay stuff with our wedding through our debit cards, of course, and, you know, Airbnb, things like that for my bachelorette party. So excited. But either way, I do not swipe these cards. I can't tell you the last time I swiped this card. It's a whole thing. It's a whole psychology thing. So Dave Ramsey talks about, sorry, I'm getting uncomfortable. So Dave Ramsey talks about the psychology of spending money, cash money, versus just swiping your card. So if you take a $20 bill into the club, and think about this. I relate it to going out and drinking. Maybe I shouldn't do that. So let's do another example. So if you go out with your girls and y'all are having brunch, right? And you take your debit card with you, and they're like, do you want another mimosa? And you're like, yeah, sounds good. I don't care, because I have my debit card here and I've got unlimited funds in there. I mean, not really, but that's how you think. Versus if you take in from your fun money cash, if you take in 20 bucks and that's all you have, and you know that your tab is like $15 and you still need to tip, then you're gonna say no to that extra mimosa. Does that make sense? Okay, so same thing when you go to the mall and go shopping. Take in 100 bucks and don't spend over $100. Take in cash money. So Tess and I each have one of these, and we keep our stuff separate. Okay, so I'm gonna show you an example of one of mine. So we have groceries here. You have your income, how much money you need to be bringing in from each paycheck, and then how much you spent and how much you have left over here, okay? So it's very straightforward. So we're gonna use my nails and hair category, for example, okay? So my nails and hair, like I told you, I give myself a $100 budget. So whenever I got paid on the 15th of May, I put in 100 bucks. I got my nails done, that was 40 bucks. And then I took out $10 to go to Booty Yoga, which was a class that I loved. But I knew I had extra money in here, so instead of going outside of my budget, I just took from a different envelope. So I took $10 from this budget to go to Booty Yoga, and then I got my nails done again another 2 weeks later, and then I had $10 left over, okay? Then I got paid, which was that line is, so I added another, guess what, $100, because that's what you do whenever you are sticking to a budget. I still had $10 left over, and I just added $100 from this paycheck. So if you open this envelope, it should have 20, 40, oh, let me do it this way, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 110. $110 cash. Do you see that? So every single amount that you have needs to line up with what it has on your outside on your envelope, okay? This is gonna help you tremendously not spend money, because if you don't have your debit card with you, what are you gonna do? You're only gonna spend what you have. And if that's how it works, you guys, it's how it works, okay? So if you spend money on your credit cards, you need to stop, okay? If you're in debt, if you have a credit card, you're in debt. Simple as that. And don't say, it's just for emergencies. No. If you are financially stable, you should have an emergency fund, okay? We will talk about that next video, but Dave Ramsey suggests to have a $1,000 emergency fund in your bank account or in cash in your house or wherever it may be to be easily accessible. Now, no, $1,000 is not gonna cover things that are going to be major traumatic events. But if you're paying off debt and you have $1,000 set aside, if your transmission goes out or if you blow a tire or you have to go to the emergency room and your deductible is $200, not your deductible, but your copay is $200 and you have to pay that up front, you have $1,000 as a cushion, okay? If you have $15,000 in your savings account and you have $50,000 of student loans, then you need to take out $14,000 of that from your savings and put it towards your debt, okay? Why are you going to sit there with all of this money in your savings account, but you have debt? So you see what I'm saying? And it may not make sense to you yet because it didn't make sense to me. And if you're like arguing with me right now in your head, I did the same thing, so that's okay. But you have to learn about this a little bit more, okay? You have to understand it. But to me, it took a little while, but then it was like, oh, duh, that makes so much sense. So I want to show you guys what I did, okay? So I had 3 credit cards, right? I had a Discover, a Visa, and a Care Credit, which is a credit limit, what am I trying to say? It's a credit card for healthcare, okay? Those of you that may not know this about me, I got a cosmetic surgery like 5 years ago or so. I don't even remember when it was. I got a Brazilian butt lift, okay? That was a stupid decision, but I did it anyways. And not saying that I don't love my butt, because I do. But at the time, I didn't have the money for that. Why did I do that? I don't know. I was stupid and young, and I was serving, making money, and I was like, here you go. So I spent like 10 grand on that surgery, okay? But that being said, I financed it. You guys, I financed a freaking cosmetic surgery. Not necessary surgery, not a kidney transplant, just a better butt. So anyways, we live and we learn, right? Again, being very transparent with you right now. So I had about 8 grand on that Care credit card. I paid it down over the years, and last week I paid that sucker off. And do you know how great that felt to know that what I'm walking around with, my butt is paid for now? Now, to be honest with you guys, my butt has been paid off for a couple of years, and I just kept putting like dentist stuff on there. You know, if I had a cavity or whatever, I put that on there. But it's just the idea of the fact that I just paid off, not just now, but over time, I paid off an $8,000 credit card. Like, that's insane. Over cosmetic surgery, you guys, but whatever. The next card that I had was a Visa credit card that I took out when I was applying to OT school because it cost me so much freaking money to apply to OT school. Obviously, it's paid off now, but it cost me like $1,000 just to apply for the program, okay? So I took out a credit card and I had a $3,000 credit limit, and I maxed that thing out, you guys. Okay, and then when I was in grad school, I had student loans, but I didn't budget, so I would run out of money at the end, and I would be like, oh my gosh, I don't get student loans until like January, and it's November, and I have no money to pay my bills. So I had to take out another freaking credit card, you guys. Insane. And no one knew that. Like, that was like a secret. That was like my dirty little secret. Like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Not really. Here's my credit card. I'm swiping. So I had like 2 grand on that credit card, okay? So here's my $3,000 credit card. It's not paid off yet, you guys, but you have to cut this up. Tessa's gonna be so excited whenever he sees this, because I didn't want to cut it up until after I paid it off, because it's like, you know, it just makes you feel so great. But you have to be serious about this. So to make sure that I don't use this, you cut that thing in half. You cut it in half. I have $3,000 and I still need to pay off on this, but guess what? I can't physically swipe this anymore, even if I wanted to. Not that I will, because I don't, but still. And guess what? My Discover credit card, I cut that thing up too. I'm gonna keep these around until I pay them off because it's just gonna be so exciting and it feels so great to do that. But I know a man that makes guitar picks out of credit cards. So I'm gonna give them to him, and he's gonna make guitar picks out of my paid off debt, which I think is so really, it's awesome, you know, making music out of my, used to be misery, but now it's amazing. So there you have it, guys. You have to be serious about this. You have to cut these things up. You cannot use them, okay? You have to get on the same page with yourself or with your spouse or with your significant other or whoever. And people are gonna make fun of you because they're gonna ask you to go out to lunch. This happens to me all the time. Hey, Amber, you wanna grab lunch? I'm like, sorry, no, I have a sandwich that I'm gonna eat because that's not in my budget. Hey Amber, do you want to go out to do this? Oh, well, how much is it? It's $40 a person. Nope, sorry, not my budget. I say no to a lot of things. When we go to dinner with friends, we have to say like, hey, you know, we're more than welcome to, we more than happy to go to dinner with you guys, but can we go somewhere that, you know, that's not so expensive? And that's sometimes not comfortable to have that conversation with other people, but if they're truly your friend, then they'll be like, yeah, absolutely, you know, let's go here instead. They've got the same food, but for cheaper or whatever. You have to have a support system around you. If you're doing this by yourself, it's gonna be hard. Me and Tez, we have argued whenever I tell you that we would talk about finances, and we would get into such a huge argument because I wasn't on the same page as him, and I would just shut down and we'd just like not even talk for like 2 hours because we just needed that break. And now it's like exciting for us. We sit down every single paycheck, every single month, and we do our budget, and it is exciting. It is so much fun. You're gonna like, what? You're crazy, girl. Wait till you do it. I promise you, wait till you do it, and you're going to freaking love it. So, okay, I think I've covered everything. We've got our income, you've got your bills, you've got your other expenses, your categories, and then after that, you come up with how much money you have left over, which is how much you put towards your debt, okay? So my next video, again, is gonna be about how to take that money and put that towards your debt snowball. So just a preview of showing you guys what it looks like whenever you get serious. These are my debt graphs that I have. This is student loans. So student loans don't kick in until August 5th. So I'm trying to pay off my credit cards, which are on this sheet. I'm trying to pay off these by August 5th. So that way all my extra money that I paid, so you know, I just paid off my care credit, see that? Data Search, which is a medical bill that I'm paying off, the Discover and the Capital One. Every time I make a payment, I shade it in, and it makes you feel like a boss because you're like getting that down even more. Care credit, boom, paid off. So I'll tell you how to pay this now, because think about this. This was, say, like $400 a month, basically, in payments. Once this is paid off, I can take that $400 a month and put it towards my student loans, okay? Now, my student loan payment is gonna be like $1,200 a month. It's gonna be a lot, but guess what? I'm paying that sucker off. I will give you a hint. My debt is greater than $80,000. Yep, craziness. But guess what? I don't care because I'm paying that off, and it's gonna feel so good. So now, if you got everything that I just said and you wanna stop listening and you're good, then perfect, sign off. Now, a lot of you have asked me to post a very specific budget. So that's what I've done here. So this is my budget. If you want to stay and listen for this, awesome. I also will post this up close so you can see. So like I told you earlier, the way that I do it is every single paycheck, I figure out which bills I need to pay with that paycheck. That is this, okay? So usually this is only gonna have 2 columns, right? Because usually you get paid twice a month. But for me, this month is a little bit weird because I got paid on the 29th of May, and it was weird timing, okay? So I have 3 paychecks on this one, but that's fine. Every month is gonna be different. So the 29th of May, the 12th of June, and the 26th of June, okay? Those are my paychecks for the month of pretty much June. So if you'll see here, here's my income, and that is specific because that I already knew how much I got paid, right? My income for here is still at $2,000, right? Because I haven't gotten paid yet, so I don't know how much my paycheck is gonna be. I will tell you, I just picked up an extra PRN position and an extra home health position. The PRN position pays $20 more an hour, and the home health pays $30 more an hour than what I'm making in my full-time job. Meaning, holy crap, I'm about to have some income. I'm working a lot of hours, but I'm paying off a lot of debt, so get with it. Okay, so here's my income. Here's my bills for that pay period, so $795. Here's my other categories that we discussed earlier. If you notice, that number is the same every single paycheck because that's my budget, right? My bills are gonna fluctuate, obviously, for which ones I'm paying that pay period, okay? So you've got your bills for that pay period, you've got your other category, so you take your income minus your bills, minus your categories, and you have this much money left over when you're done. That's a lot of money that I can put towards debt. Okay, next paycheck, sorry. Here's my income. That's obviously gonna be more, but guess what? I'm only budgeting for it to be $2,000. By the way, I'm not wearing any highlighter, but I've got a natural glow right now. Okay, so here's my bills. Here's my categories. Again, an estimate. And here's how much money I'll have left over after that's paid for. And again, on the 26th, same idea, okay? So if you look, I have $679 from this paycheck. I have $926 from this paycheck, and I have $337 from this paycheck, which means I have an additional $1,900 to put towards debt, you guys. $1,900. Now, on my Discover credit card, I only owe $1,720. That means that this month I get to pay off my Discover. I get to pay it off and throw it away. This one, pay it off. You know how freaking great that feels? Okay. So here's my personal budget. Again, these numbers are as accurate as I could possibly get. Now, every single time I get a paycheck, again, I change this number and I put exactly how much. Because you have to have a place for every single dollar. That's one another Dave Ramsey thing that he says. Every dollar has a purpose. So every single dollar, you guys, in here, every single dollar is accounted for, okay? So my tips to you, cut up your credit cards. Get a budget. Find out where you're spending your money so that you can create your categories, and then start the envelope system. Okay? Simple as that, right? No, it's really not. It is simple, it just takes a lot of work, okay? So, there you have it. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, my Instagram is amberholt_, and that's where I post a lot of my pictures and stuff like that and more detailed stuff. But you can contact me there, direct message me. Don't contact me on Facebook, I will not respond. If you want my number or whatever, just comment down below and I can text you and I can help you create your budget. If you're just like, yeah, video was great, but I still don't know where to start, then I'll FaceTime you and I'll walk you through it every single step of the way, because that's how serious I am about this. It's serious business, people. Okay, so next video, I already told you what it'll be about, so stay tuned for that. And otherwise, if you have any questions, please let me know. Share this with whoever you think needs to hear it. And I think that's it. All right, thanks, guys.